Hi, folks. I'm Uncle Dorkel. As you probably know by now, you've seen my ugly kisser quite a few times. Some of you have been wondering how I lived to be so old. Well, I really can't answer that 100%, but I'll try my very best. It comes mostly from my upbringing. I never drank, and I never smoked in my life, and neither did my mom or dad. We ate good. We ate right off the land, so to speak. And I'm going to tell you some of the foods that we have eaten. Now, some of the foods may not sound too appetizing to you, and to this day I wondered why I ate the stuff myself. Oh, but anyhow, one of the things that we used to live on a lot is
possum.
And I'm going to give you a recipe here. How to make possum and taters. Well, first of all, the ingredients call for
1 young fat possum.
that shouldn't be too hard to find in the woods. Make sure when you shoot it in the head so you don't damage the meat and so forth. Now, it also calls for some sweet potatoes, but we just grew regular potatoes in the ground. We did use sweet potatoes sometimes, but calls for that. 2 tablespoons of lard. It's very hard to get butter, so we use lard. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. And a little bit of salt, just a pinch of salt. What you want to do first, naturally, is to catch the possum. That may or may not be so easy. That's why I recommend you to shoot it in the head. But what you do is you skin the possum and remove the head and you remove the feet. Be sure to wash it thoroughly in a bucket. And I usually keep it in a crick to keep it cold. That's what we did when we were kids because we didn't have refrigerators and stuff like that. In the wintertime, it was very easy to preserve them. Just throw it in the snowbank. When it's ready to cook, peel the taters and boil them in lightly salted water along with the lard and the sugar, or the butter if you got that. But I'm giving you the recipe that my mom always went by. What you want to do next is you want to stew the possum tenderly.
Stew the possum.
Make sure you don't stew it too much, just tender, in a tightly covered pan or bucket or whatever you got. And arrange the taters around the possum. Strip with bacon if you got it. We got enough pigs on the farm, we usually got plenty of pork. Throw a little pepper on it and cook it over the fireplace. And baste often with the drippings from the
Possum.
Another thing we used to make too is possum
Gizzard.
stew. Now that's not too hard to do. What you do is you get the possum and you skin it. You can always use the meat to add into the gizzard stew. The difference is you're going to take out the gizzards, you're going to cut up the gizzards in little small pieces, and you're going to dump them in your bucket. And in our case, we used to stick it up under the fire in the fireplace, get it nice and hot, boiling. Let it boil, I would say, about, and you got to boil about 45 minutes. Because you got a mixture of gizzards, you got different types of stuff that some take longer than others. Well, after you get the gizzards boiled, then what you do is you add your taters and your onions. Now, Some of you may want to throw in the tail for flavor. So what you try to do is you take the tail and you just throw it in the way it is. And it's very nourishing. You know, you can season to however you want it. So that's one of the recipes. And now I have some more for you. Don't go away. I'm going to give you another very simple recipe here for more of you conventional folks. As a matter of fact, that's the kind of the way I eat now. I don't eat possum and that, but I was growing up, I did. I'm going to give you a very simple recipe for a nice home-fried potatoes. Now, believe it or not, my home health aide, she helps me a lot, but I do my most of my cooking. She helps me get up onto the a special stool that you can hold my carcass. And my ass ain't got any ass. But hold my carcass up so I can get up to the stove, because you know naturally now I got a stove, of course. But when I was growing up, naturally we only had the fireplace to heat by and a potbelly stove. But anyways, we take you take some potatoes, and what I do is I slice them up into fairly small pieces, and before I do anything else with them, I'll put a little bit of garlic powder, not garlic salt, but garlic powder on them, very light coating. I put pepper all over them, black pepper. I don't use any salt. And then I take a little bit of vegetable oil, or corn oil or something in the frying pan. And depending on how big of a order of home fries you want to make, sorry about that. But anyways, what you want to do is you want to put them on a low flame. I use a gas stove myself. I don't like electric. Too expensive to run. Now this is living now. I'm not talking about back when I was young. We didn't have that stuff. Anyways, we cover the pan with a cover, and you got to keep an eye on it and turn the potatoes often. It'll take you, I'd say about 20 minutes to maybe a half hour, depends on how far you got the flame up. You want to keep the flame low, and you want to turn them so they don't stick on the bottom of the pan. You put enough oil in the pan just to coat the bottom. You don't have to have them swimming in it. You know what I mean. Anyways, that's how I make home fries. Nothing fancy. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I do put onions in them. Oh, yes, you got to have onions. So I chop up the onions to about, I would say, cut them up about a half-inch long or so. You know, slice the onion, chop them up about half-inch long pieces, maybe a little longer, depends how you like them. And you make sure you turn that mix good and often, because it'll stick to the pan. So that's how I do the home fries. Now I want to get back to when I was growing up. Like I said before, we have milk, goat milk. That's what I was raised on anyhow. And we had a couple of goats out there. We had about 3 or 4 goats, actually. And we just fill the
glass bottle.
Now, the bottles we originally got, when we did go into town, we'd get the quart bottles. We did buy store-bought regular milk once in a great while, but we kept the bottles so we can make our own and store it too. In the wintertime, there was never any problem storing and preserving things, because we kept them outside. In the summertime, we had a root cellar, which was a dirt cellar under the cabin, And you had a box buried in the floor where we kept all our food and stuff that could go bad, kind of below ground level. And we lived kind of like up on a little hill, so we didn't collect too much water there. And that's how we kept our stuff cold for a while anyhow. In the wintertime, it didn't matter. We just kept them down there. It stayed very, very cold. And it kept the milk from going bad. We only milked the goat as we needed to get, of course, when I was growing up, that's what I was fed on, as I told you. And so we had goat's milk, and we lived on all kinds of meat that my dad hunted on the land, and we survived. And basically, it's eating good. Of course, you think about lard and stuff, that's not good, but you know, years ago, people got exercise, and you didn't sit around on the computer and like you do nowadays and all this other stupid stuff. And, you know, so you worked all that bad stuff out of your system by just working. You're active. From 5 o'clock in the morning, I had to get when I was big enough to do work out in the yard, help my dad in the yard. 5 o'clock in the morning, he expected my ass, and I did have one then. I expected me out there to do my chair. And we worked until about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. That was a whole day you had, and they no fighting around. We had to go work. So we got our exercise. Yeah, that's all I'm going to discuss about the recipes here. I know a few more, but I'm not going to discuss any more now. But anyways, I wanted to just kind of like cover over the subject as to why I lived such a long life. And, you know, some people live a long time and some don't. And I guess it's the environment, could be, you know, your lifestyle, what you are used to eating and taking care of yourself. If you're not eating a good diet, that can contribute to a short life. And stuff like that. So, the best thing I can tell you is I'm just blessed with having a long life, and I don't expect to last much longer, but I'm going to hang around as long as I can. So folks, I want to thank you for watching. You have a good day, and you take care of yourself. Goodbye.